is an emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, party people. Um, yeah, so actually, um, earlier this week, I saw on Instagram that Micah suggested a TV show. And I started watching it because it looked good. I like sumo. Turns out it's the most popular show in Japan. So Michael was just an early adapter to that. Julia has watched it twice now. Mina binged it in one day. And yeah, it's a really good show. Sanctuary. I'm like halfway through. If you're even vaguely interested in sumo, and pretty much like if you want to know kind of the ins and outs of just sporting in Japan, I think it's a very interesting show. It's funny. That's my little plug for that. I think it was really good. I wish I was sponsored. I'm not, but yeah, it's a show like the main character is basically like a pro wrestler, and like
Okay.
that's like half of the issue, right? He's like this delinquent kid who, his family had financial problems, so he was a judoka, and then he was like, oh well, I can make a hell of money doing sumo. And the issue is that when he wins a sumo match, he like gloats and he like does like fucking Hulk Hogan poses and shit. And everybody's like, that's not how sumo works, bro. What's wrong with you? And he's like, that's how my sumo works. It's a great show. I'm underselling it. Really fun show. And everybody in Stardom is watching it. So, yeah,
All right. Yeah, popular with the Stardom crew, huh? I
yeah,
did tell you to talk about the show. This isn't a
yes.
Dylan tangent. I was like, please tell me about the show.
Oh, it's a
So
it's a it's a really good show. I'm enjoying it a lot.
all right. I mean, I'll never watch it because I don't watch
Yeah,
telly anymore. But you know, it's
like I said, if
seems
if,
fun.
if anybody's into sumo, it also like touches on the treatment of uh young boys in Japanese sports, right?
Oh,
Where
right.
there's kind
Yeah.
of abused, like like mercilessly, and that crosses over for pro wrestling as well, obviously. A bit not as much nowadays, but definitely 10 years plus. I mean, even Dragon Gate was kind of, uh, like just a lot of it crosses over in certain ways. So if you're interested in sumo, I would check it out. Even if you're not, it's still a pretty fun show. Just as a Japanese wrestling fan, you can probably take something away from it.
All right, sounds good. Now, Stardom Quest is brought to you by the Five Star Network. Head on over to fivestarnetwork.co to find the articles and all of the different podcasts that we're doing. We aim to cover basically the entire world of professional wrestling. There's articles about lucha, about black wrestling specifically, stuff about, all of the cool shows that are coming up because somebody does like a schedule of all the cool shows coming
Yeah,
up. That's great. And then there's also podcasts about various different topics. So head on over to the Five Star Podcast Network to listen to all that, or just read the website.
yeah. Sonata article coming soon. I'm getting my wisdom teeth out tomorrow, so I don't know how much I'm gonna be working on it uh over the next few days, but I've been I've been going at it. I'm trying to get back to writing things that I like.
That is cool. Now, on the world of Stardom, we have a kind of just one bit of news to cover, really, and that is the card for Stardom Flashing Champions 2023. That's the next pay per view. It's on May 27th in Ota Ward Gymnasium, which is a pretty important
Shouts out
venue.
Oda Ward.
Yeah, pretty important venue. Pretty like most people will acknowledge it's a cool venue. Um,
It's probably
but
my favorite venue in Joshi. I've said this before, but yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
probably my
they
favorite.
dogged this card. They raw dogged this card. The opener is Suri and Aya Sakura versus Chairman Ram and Maika Ozaki. Then we have Saya Ida and
That's crazy.
Saya Ida and Momo Kogo versus Lady C and Miyu Amasaki on a pay-per-view. We then have Utami Hayashishita, Saya Kamatani, and Hina versus Starlight Kid, Ruaka, and Rina. Again, this is a pay-per-view card. We then have Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki, Koguma, and Hanan versus Mariah May, Jessie, Xena, and Waka Tsukiyama because Mayu keeps beefing with the foreign ladies.
Wait, what?
Um,
Wait, where are you
what?
getting this? The it says the card is different. Like the one I'm reading is different from yours.
Why? How?
I don't know.
I went to the news section on the website. Have they changed the card in the last 10
They
hours?
haven't changed the schedule. That's why.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they do the news first, and then
Yeah, the schedule
yeah,
is all fucking weird. Uh,
that is fair. We then have this is kind of a cool match actually. It's Maika, Suzu Suzuki, and Mei Seira versus Nanai Takahashi, Yuna Mizumori, and Hanako. That right there is a good one. That is a big one. Um,
Micah, Suzu, and May, huh?
yeah, quite an
That's
interesting
interesting.
team. We then have the Artists of Stardom Championship match. We have Kairi, Natsupoi, and Saori Anu, also known as Restart, defending against Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla, also known as the Bari Bari Ribbon Bars. It's a
That's
little
not.
little
It's the Bari
reference.
Bari Bombers.
You sure? Because I thought the Bombers was just two of them.
No, it's the
All
Bombers.
right,
The three of
okay
them
then.
are the
Bombers.
Bombers.
Okay, all right. Then we have a high-speed championship match. Azumi defends against Saki Kashima and Fukigen Death. I swear to God, if Kaori Oniyama wins a transitional reign in another three-way, I'm gonna hunt Rossi for sport. We then have a Goddess of Stardom Championship match. Mariah and Amisore defend against Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe. And in the main event, we have probably the biggest match Stardom has done in a little bit. We have a World of Stardom and Wonder of Stardom Championship match as Tam Nakano and Mina Shirakawa collide for both of the belts.
So what did you mean by raw dog?
Um, I don't know. They just
Did you mean it positively or negatively?
negatively, like they
Okay, yeah, because this is a bad card.
yeah
Like I'm
yeah.
looking at it, I was like, ah,
It's,
like that tag match looks fun with the Hanako and the Micah Suzu stuff. Uh, if you like restart, that will be okay. But I mean, like my Sakurai is not really, I mean she's good in tag stuff, so that'll be fun if you like restart. Uh, the three way is always fun enough, but like it's not enough
considering who
to.
is in that division, that three-way is such a letdown. I
Oh,
think.
100%.
Like
In
Koguma is
comparison to
doing
like pretty
nothing.
much any other, yeah, any other
Yeah.
person.
So it's I don't know. They are really relying on the double title match to
And
get
I hate
people
that. Like
in.
that's not a match I'm looking forward to even remotely. And like I've accepted. I didn't even say this on this episode. Sorry, Mina's cool. My bad. Like that's 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 my statement on that. Like I'm cool with that. Don't want to see that match because
That
like
is
best
fair.
case scenario goes to a draw, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Like either they hamstring Mina and give Tam the two belts, which would be really bad, or they go to a draw, which is a bit of a letdown. Because Mina is not winning. Like that's definitely not happening. But like I don't know, these double title matches, it's usually just a draw, and that's just not fun. Especially when that's
especially
your
when that's
big draw for the show.
the only
Yeah.
match on the show, really.
So kind of an interesting card for an Ota Ward show, given how like important that venue usually is. But that is some of the
That's a
decision
letdown.
making they're doing lately. Now, because Stardom have been touring the south of Japan, they have not uploaded anything from May. The show that
Yeah.
happened on April 30th just went up earlier today. Um, so there's nothing for us to review apart from the pay per view. And then there's very little for us to preview. There's a New Blood and some house shows. Um, so we're just going to review the pay per view. Then we asked in our Discord for questions to help us fill time. And then we're going to look ahead to New Blood and the Jumbo Last Hurrah show, even though the card for that is terrible. So the only show to review was on May 4th. This was Fukuoka Goddess Legend 2023 in the Fukuoka International Center. This did 1,338 fans. I believe this was up about 200 from they ran Fukuoka in this venue during Golden Week last year, and it was up about 200 from that. So, positive growth. We like it. Um, the opener to this show was the Fukuoka Rumble. Suzu Suzuki won in 20 minutes when she hit the tequila shot on Mai Sakurai, and
Oh, did she pin her?
I guess so. Yeah.
So, okay, first of all, Fukuoka Goddess Legend, that's not a show name. That's Stardom Word Vomit. That doesn't exist. Like what? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Like they could have made it like like whatever.
Just don't.
Rumble.
That's just not.
Yeah, yeah. The Rumble. I started it and I watched the first like 5 minutes, and then my Wi-Fi went out. I went and I fixed it. I came back. Suzu was the winner.
hmm
That's it. Scott said it was okay. Like he said it was better than a lot of the Rumbles have been,
I
which
mean,
isn't saying a
Suzu
ton,
like
but
beating people up is fun, but
yeah, yeah,
the issue is that they do the timed entrance. So everybody gets like 10 seconds to hit their moves, and then a new entrance plays and we move on. It's just a continuous
true.
cycle of somebody getting in for 10 seconds, doing like 5 moves, and then you forget about them. And it's like, I'm just wasting my time here. So, like, it's fine. I guess it's better than like five, big tag matches in the undercard, but
And I mean,
definitely
I'm
not
pretty sure
great.
this match was literally booked because they didn't realize that because they already made the card without Suzu on it, and they needed Suzu somewhere.
Yes.
Like there was really no other reason other than oh we need Suzu to get on this card and win.
hmm
So don't really hate it for that.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. Like it's pretty inoffensive. I'd rather this over, Hanako and Aya versus Unimon and Xena or something. Like that's just
Yeah.
we don't need that. So if you want to combine everybody into a rumble, go ahead, be my guest. Then we got into the good stuff on the card. We had Hanan and Mayu Iwatani beating Jessie and Mariah May when Mayu pinned Jessie in 9 minutes. I thought Mariah May was really, really good in this match.
Yes.
She really showed out every time she was in the ring, and yeah, she was like the star of the show in that regard.
Yeah, that was match was way better than it had any right to be. Like it was
Yes,
just a fun match.
definitely.
Jesse's gear way better. I like this gear more than her other gear.
hmm
It reminds me of Teen Titans, so shout out to her. Um, yeah, I mean it was fun. Like it was a fun match. Mariah May's dope. She's challenging Suzu to a Barbie death match, and Suzu has no idea what the fuck she's saying. Um, that's a Twitter beef right there. And yeah, I mean this was a really fun match. Mariah's dope, and it's nice to see Stars win, especially Hanan because she doesn't really do that much.
That is fair. Yeah. I did think Jessie looked pretty okay in this one as well. Like she's still
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
there, but like she's clearly living up to the potential that I thought she had when she first showed up. So that's always good to see.
yeah.
But yeah,
Mayu
it's
got a moonsault on her again, which she did like 3 times during Golden Week.
yeah. But yeah, Mariah May was obviously the star of the show. She was just fantastic in every regard. Um,
Mayu teased a title match against Mariah May as well.
she did, and they're paired up on the next pay-per-view, so let's get
Yeah,
it. Dominion, maybe? Dominion, Mayu, and
that
Mariah?
that would be crazy. Like I'm a big Mariah May fan. Give it like that's crazy. But I
I
guess
mean,
Mayu
it's
can beat
10
her in
minutes, like, it's,
yeah, Mayu can
you
beat her
know,
in 6 minutes. Like it's not
yeah.
that hard.
I wonder what
And
happened
she's
to the,
pretty and
the
cool.
Nanai match, because they, like, teased Mayu and Nanai, and now Nanai is feuding with Maika on the pay-per-view, and it's like, alright, cool, I
I
guess.
imagine I imagine that Rossi wants that one,
Mm.
and that probably happened. Well,
He could have simply booked it for Ota Ward. I don't know, man.
yeah,
I feel like it's a big enough venue to do it.
this Outer Word show is dumb.
Yeah,
It's like I don't know.
very.
Like the more I think about it, it's like why is this the way it is? But
Who knows? But anyway, the next match on the card was Saori Anu and Tam Nakano beating Starlight Kid and Rocca when Saori Anu pinned Rocca with the Pottering, which is her fancy roll up submission. Yeah, I mean this is all about Saori Anu, really. Like they just
mm,
let her go and let her rip, and she beat the crap out of Rocca, and I thought she looked great.
yeah, Anu versus Ruaka stuff was great.
Mm,
Wasn't as crazy about like the Tam stuff, or even the kid and Anu stuff. I thought that was fine, but her and Ruaka really just killed it near the end of the match. Um, yeah, kid was kid posted a picture of like her early career of her Natsupoi, well Natsumi Maki and Soriano tagging, like being a trio and like
yeah.
posing. And I was like, that's insane. Like, cause like I forget that Anu was around, right? And
Mm.
like I forget that kid has been around that long. Like it's just kind of funny to like look at shit like that and be like, oh yeah, there's some leftover stuff from back then that they didn't really address or like go into with Natsupoi all that much. Because like Azumi used to bully Natsupoi like ruthlessly, but they just never like when Natsupoi came in, it was just this is a new person, and I find that
Yeah,
very
I mean,
funny.
she got
But yeah,
over it. It was like 6 years ago. I mean, it's fine.
see that's
Um,
the issue. Kid doesn't.
that is fair. But yeah, no, this was the Sayoriano show, and that's really all it needs to be. Because I mean, I feel like she used to have a reputation for being like an okay wrestler, but over the past like 12 months, she's just been incredible. Like since,
Mm,
I mean, I remember her having some great like Ice X Infinity matches, even towards late last year. And now every time she's in Stardom, she's great. And the rare time Sendai Girls uploads anything, she's been great in that. So Sayori Anu is like hitting her peak almost, which is pretty crazy.
she's still serving in Alice Academy
Yes.
as well.
Well,
Um,
no, nobody serves on Oz
yes,
Academy. It's
but she does. That's the thing.
no, no, don't
Yeah.
think so.
See, you're just upset because Mayumi Ozaki made Takumi bleed, and now Marvelous is
I mean,
infected
I'm
with bleed
upset
because
that
of
like
Ozaki.
Ozaki hasn't been good in like 30 years and she's still fucking around and won't leave. So that's a bigger problem.
It's I would say like it's 15 years. 15 years.
50. That's true. Yeah.
30 is a bit aggressive.
Well, I don't know. I mean, she was getting carried by Kaoru there once Gaia hit, so I don't know.
That did happen.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right. The next match was Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora beating Konami and Siri in 7 minutes when Momo pinned Konami. This was them putting over Momo and Natsuko, and they're an amazing tag team. Like they just work
Yeah,
seamlessly together, and I never
they're
expected
cool.
that. Um, yeah, they just beat the crap out of them. Like they like Siri and Konami didn't get anything, and Momo just pinned Konami, which is a pretty big indicator
Rare.
of something. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Konami looked good in this as well. I feel like there's a lot of times where Konami looks rusty, and like
Mm,
you could tell. I thought this match, she just kind of felt like she was around, and I thought that
yeah.
was cool. Um, yeah, Natsuko and Momo are cool. They're very good at laying in the heel work, right?
Mm,
Like it kind of was done for like laughs more than anything. Like Momo whacking both Shuri and Konami with the bat, the ref looking at her like, bro, what the fuck? And then her just dropping the bat and like being like, I'm not even holding a bat, bro. The fuck do you want from me? How
yeah.
can I hit them if I'm not holding a bat? It was great. It was great. I thought it was hilarious. And yeah, Momo and Natsuko are a great tag team together. Natsuko, we say it frequently, never gets enough credit. Like she's
Mhm.
especially as a tag wrestler, phenomenal, and she's been phenomenal as a tag wrestler since what Jungle Assault Nation. Like she kind of, Jungle Kyona's cool, but in terms of the tag team work, I thought Natsuko kind of carried that tag team for the time that they had it. Uh, that's just you know that's
You
just my
know,
take, and I think
I
she's always been great
was
at that.
I was gonna make a similar point about Momo. At what point can we label her a tag wrestling specialist? Because this is like her fourth
Yeah,
tag team that's been great. Like she's just really good at this stuff. Because I mean, her and Utami obviously were a good team. Her and Jungle Kiona were a good team. Her and Azumi were obviously fantastic. I enjoyed her and Starlight Kid as a team, and now her and Natsuko are great. Like it's she's got a
and that's not
real
even going into
impressive body of
like
work.
her just like every time she tagged with Io, it being fun. Every time she
Mm,
tagged with Hazuki, it was fun, and that was when she like wasn't at the level that she would eventually get to. Uh, she just was always really great at tag team stuff. So yeah, no, I totally agree that she's uh great at tag stuff, which is also kind of concerning because it means that there is a place for her that is nowhere near the top of the card, and I don't think her and Natsuko win this, so that's tough.
yeah, that's true. But anyway, that was a nice like match though, where they very much had an aim of, hey, we're gonna put the Momo and Natsuko team over, which
Yeah, Momo actually got put over big
yeah, I feel like every match on
because
this show had a direct aim of we're making
yes,
this
yes,
person look good, and I thought that really helped the show.
which feels wild, especially now knowing the Flashing Champions card. that
Yes.
none of this is getting not even paid off. None of this is even getting like
Well,
anything.
I think this was the
Um,
start of a lot of stuff. More
but
than
the
like
5 star is in like two
that's true.
months.
But you know how Stardom is. They'll like pick those threads up whenever, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say I wanna mention like one like the closing spot because it was really fun. Um, Natsuko Momo hit Konami with the Loch Ness lockdown. I don't know if you know. Oh, that's the Loch Ness lowdown. My bad. I don't know if you know about that. Uh, the Monster Mafia. Uh, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander used to use that move, and I always loved it. It was like the best part of their matches is them using the Loch Ness lowdown. Great shit. And Momo just won with Tequila Sunrise.
mm,
Like her like C or D finisher, which is crazy. Like that's dope.
yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
the Konami's
shouts out.
Konami was like, I will do the job, brother. That works for me, brother.
See, and that's also funny is that it's like like when there's that much like history there, because obviously they used to be in QQ together and they used to be in Oedo together and all that shit. It's really funny that like Momo used her 2017 finisher on Konami
Mm,
that she used to beat Konami in 2017. You know what I mean? Like that's like there's just no progress there, and that's great. I love that.
yeah, it's very fun.
Some things have your number.
The next match then on the show was Maika and Julia beating Saya Kamatani and Utami Hayashishita when Maika pinned Utami with a Michinoku driver. We said
Yeah,
last week this could
one and
be
done.
a very important match for Maika because it felt like there was something brewing with her, and boy, were we ever right.
Yeah,
She debuted a brand new attitude. She jumped the two of them before the bell. When she won, she was like, "Fuck you guys!" Like that was job done. After the match, her and Julia were like, "Listen, man, like we got to be ruthless now. Any moment of doubt can really cost you a match." So it seems like Micah is leading DDM in a bit more of a ruthless direction, and they kickstarted that really well by having her pin Utami here because this was a really good match. But they also really said, "Hey, Micah, you're gonna beat the shit out of these two, and you're gonna look great."
I think this is the one point that I'm upset that the Golden Week shows aren't up because like I want to know what the fuck this means. You know what I mean? Because like the vibes of this match for me, Micah is dope, and I love Micah, and she's had like a better performance than usual in this match. Like that
Hmm.
was pretty much it, and she was a bit, she punched Utami. That was like the big difference was that she
Yeah.
jumped him before the bell, and she punched Utami in the face, closed fist, which is dope. One of my favorite moves in wrestling is the closed fist punch. Uh, you know, like that was great. But then after the match, she did the little thing where everybody in Fukuoka, which is her hometown, was expecting her to be like, "Oh, like I won in my hometown. What's up? This is dope. I you know, got my revenge on last year where I lost famously in my hometown." And she was just like, "Nah, fuck you," and just dipped and like
Hmm.
pushed the camera out of her way. I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." And that kind of gave me a little bit of pause because I was like, "This Stardom's not great at doing heels," and I don't think that's like a hot take. Um, so when your favorite wrestler or one of your favorite wrestlers seemingly turns heel, even though DDM were always heels, it's a bit concerning. But from everything I've gathered since then, it's just her hitting people a bit harder, which cool.
Well,
I'm cool with that.
the post show comments indicated it wasn't a heel turn. It was just more we're not fucking around anymore. Like it was very much like Himeko was here and she was making us be nice, and we're not nice anymore.
Which is funny because Hameka was definitely like like such a shit starter, bro. Like she was just a petty motherfucker.
That
Uh,
is true.
but yeah,
I don't know though. I'm into it.
it's
I'm
interesting.
very into whatever they're doing with Micah. I feel like over the past few months they've catapulted her from oh yeah, Micah's cool, but I don't know where she's gonna get her opportunities to. Please belt this woman up. She's moved herself to next in line for that white belt. I think with this, like
Yeah.
she's just the hair change and the attitude change. It's just really worked for her.
She
Um,
added another cosmonaut to the list of people she's beaten with the Michinoku driver this week,
oh,
and
that's
that
good.
always makes me happy
Yeah.
because she beat Jesse with it. So it's like, hey, one bites the dust. Angel Killer, shouts out.
Oh yeah. But yeah, did a lot for Micah here. It also did a lot for Utami. Because Utami Since losing the
That
belt
was terrifying.
to Suri, she's just been kind of in limbo. Like they protected her, but she was always just like in a tag match with Miyu Amasaki or something, like not doing anything. Um, but her losing here is I think does a lot more for her than anything else because it gave her that moment after the show where she was like, okay, this actually sucks. I hate this. Like I don't like losing. Um, so it seems like they're gonna kickstart something with Utami, which kind of makes sense because I suspected she'd be the one to beat Tam down the line. So they're gonna kickstart her kind of storyline now with her dropping this fall to Maika, and her and Saya had a bit of a moment afterwards where I think people panicked, but I
Oh,
don't think
100%.
they're gonna.
I'm still panicking.
I doubt they do a turn though. I just
Man,
what
we'll talk about that when we get to the Q&A segment.
yeah.
Because there are certain questions about uh this that I'll kind of dive into a bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Uh, yeah, I don't know what they do because it is really funny when you like watch it with the subtitles because it's like Saya just being like, "Man, we've been losing a lot, huh?" And Utami's like, "Fuck are you? What the fuck?" And Saya's like, "What? What?" She's like, "Yeah, I know I fucking lost. Why you have to say that shit?" And Saya's like, I just, I didn't." And Utami just fucking threw her eyes back. I'm just like, Utami is like, she's hearing voices, bro. She is, she is like, she's struggling right now. Which is good because like that struggle is going to result in like a elevation of some kind, whether it's whether she turns or not. I feel like we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I'm interested in what's going on with that. But I obviously hope that QQ can kind of stay together for the most part.
I mean, I doubt they do any movement because where does Utami or Saya go if that were the
Well,
case?
we could talk about that later
But I
because
mean,
I have
I'm just
ideas.
saying, like the rationale there is I
No,
don't see
the
it.
issue is that there's too many factions.
Yes.
Because like Utami can leave if she wanted to, and start her own faction and just
Oh dear God.
even though she's the leader of Queen's Quest, uh, that would be the third leader of Queen's Quest to just dip. Um, but like there are directions, but like Utami to Oedo Tai, I saw, I think Jay fucking, I think he suggested that. I don't see that. I think that's probably the worst thing you could do with Utami right now, is
That's just not
put
a way to
her
tie
in
spot
Oedo
either.
Tai.
Like that's not what they do.
Yeah,
So they wouldn't get a big
because I
star
mean,
like
like,
her.
yeah, that's not really viable in my opinion for
Mm.
anybody. I think that would hurt every single person involved in that. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's stuff they can do, but I don't really want them to. Uh, I think the other idea was Sai Kamatani to Cosmic Angels, which I might hurt
They wouldn't
something
do
if
that
that
either.
happens.
That's not happening.
Yeah. So those are the options. I don't really see them breaking up, and they shouldn't break up. But we'll see.
I mean,
That's another thing. They didn't put like a singles match on Flashing Champions or anything between them. Uh,
yeah, well, like I think they're just gonna work through it, and Utami's gonna be like, okay, I'm serious now. I don't like losing, and then she's gonna win the belt. Like that's all you have to do.
yeah, but like they've been doing miscue spots all week.
Yeah, but I guess like it's pretty easy to just do those and be like, ah, Queen's Quest has lost the groove because that's what Saya said. Like I don't know. It's just I just don't see it. I don't see where either one goes without Queen's Quest. But yeah,
Yeah,
that match did a lot for Micah and it did a lot for Utami. So and it was also really good in the ring as well. Like these four are
yes, for
obviously like
sure.
really good at what they do, and Micah has great chemistry with both Utami and Saya. So I mean, this was always going to be very enjoyable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought that one aspect of the match that like I really took is, even though Micah was tagging with Julia, it felt like it was just Micah versus Utami and Saya,
yeah.
because like that golden generate, because Himeka's gone,
hmm
so it's like the person she usually has to face the other members of Gold Gen is not there. And while Julia is Julia, obviously she's ever present. It felt like like Micah was like kind of proving her worth in a one on two, as a member of Golden Generation. I thought that was really cool. I was really interested in that, you know, uh, mental side of it. I thought it was really well done. So yeah, good match.
Definitely. Then we had Azumi defending the high speed championship against May Sarah. Azumi won in just under 11 minutes to retain the belt. Not what we expected at all.
No,
Um, so the Azumi
I
reign
mean to be fair,
continues.
I did say last week. I don't know. Miss Sarah just got here. Maybe they just run a three-way and have Azumi drop it then. I assumed it was going to be a three-way featuring Miss Sarah. It's not. But I was close to right in that, thought process. Um, yeah, bizarre. Love it. Shouts out Azumi, greatest high speed champion of all time. That's dope. But yeah, it's wild. She's still high speed champ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but it also feels like a bit of a missed opportunity to really, give the division to May. But
To be fair, I think right now May's spot is being Suzu's pin eater when she needs to lose matches.
yeah, I guess
And
that's
she's gonna grow as that happens, and then eventually she'll get the belt. I imagine she gets the belt by the end of the year. Uh, but for right now, as things are kind of uncertain for the next while, yeah, I think May Sarah is just around. Not just around. Obviously, they have plans for her, and there's a reason they signed her because she's really good. But I think right now it's like, okay, we're gonna take you slow. Suzu's the one that we need to protect. You're gonna be losing some matches. You can't really just lose here and there randomly when you're high speed champion to random people. You can, Azumi does, but
fair enough. But yeah, this is a very good match. Didn't hit the level of like their Osaka one a while back,
no,
but like
no.
it was very good. I think May is weird because she looked better in the tag from April 30th than she
Yes,
did here, and
yes.
that's just very odd to me. Like,
You know what? I actually just listened to like a therapist, psychology show about um effort, right? And your first attempt at something is usually the best of the first 10 attempts at
yeah,
something. And I think that was the case for May Sarah because she came out and was like, "Okay, I need to prove that I can still do this and I'm still ready for this. I've been training for months. I want to come back. I'm going to do this." And she killed it. And then the matches after that have been like fine. Uh and it's just like she kind of like started really high and then she's like, "Okay, I'm here. Now it's time for like the grind sort of aspect of it to like fix the parts of her game that aren't as great. But because of that, she isn't going full tilt,
mm.
which is fair. I get it. But yeah, I thought this match was fun. Early going was a bit all over the place, and Azumi kind of just like saved it by just taking the craziest bumps she possibly could. Uh, because it was kind of sloppy, it was kind of messy, and I mean that's kind of part of the high speed of style is that kind of just like roughneck style. Shouts out Shota Umino. Uh, but it was a bit all over the place, and then Azumi just started like trying to break her own neck, doing certain spots, and then they got into some really fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was fun, but I just there was definitely like a step faster that they could have gone. But maybe they'll
Yes,
hit it. Maybe they were saving stuff
and a bit
for
more. They
another
they
match.
definitely could have been. They definitely could have been a bit more creative.
Yes, definitely.
Not like I mean that's like kind of just an issue with a lot of high speed matches that aren't like that don't involve Masaruga. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the nature of it nowadays. Is you kind of expect some flavor and it's not always there. It's kind of sometimes just the Azumi match with no added, you know, passion to it,
hmm
so to speak. But I say this is a step above that because like Azumi's had some matches where it is just Azumi wrestling
Yes,
somebody. You know what I mean? And it's just that's all the matches. This was a bit more than that.
that it was. But yeah, we'll see if they run it back or not, because I would imagine they do, but I don't know when. Um, the
Five
next
star maybe.
the next match on the show then was a Goddess of Stardom Championship match. Amisori and Mirai retained against Hazuki and Koguma, and Mirai pinned somebody with a jumping lariat in 17 and a half
It
minutes.
was Koguma.
The finish looked terrible. Mirai, how do all of your
Oh
finishes look?
really?
Yeah, she like jumped into the
I liked
lariat,
it.
but it didn't like she does harder lariats just normally. Like it
Yes, but it's not as cool. That's the
it
issue. Like
wasn't
it
very
you gotta be
cool. I
flashy.
don't know,
You gotta be
man.
flashy, my boy.
Like between this and the Miramares, I'm just like, how is everything about you amazing except your finishers? Yeah, this was
That's most power wrestlers, to be
that
fair.
is fair. This was like fine. I'm really not into Ami and Mariah as a team. Hazuki tried her best. I will give her that.
Man,
She was doing her shit and trying. But yeah, the
FWC pisses me off
why?
how good they
Oh
are.
yeah, that is fair.
Cause like, bro, they made me believe in this match. Like cause I've told you this, and also you didn't watch this live. That's the problem.
I don't
That
think
is the
that would have
problem.
saved it. Like Ami and Mariah just they're so boring as a team.
Yes, but you don't notice that when FWC is going crazy and you think that they
But
might
there
win.
was no
That's
chance.
that's
This
that's
is like V0.
that's
This was
because you watched it.
V0.
That's because you watched it. That's because you watched it in
I
post,
could have watched it
in
live and
part.
I would have known this was V0 and they weren't losing.
Okay, Alex, there. No, I understand and I agree, especially because at a certain point they isolated, and once they isolate, you kind of know who's
Yeah.
winning because they isolate Koguma and Mirai, and it's like, okay, I know where this is
Yeah.
going. Once they stop like looking for tags, once they stop even like then you know who's winning of these two, especially a Koguma Mirai finish. But the Kuma roll that got me. Uh, Mirai no sold the Everest, which like Mirai, stop. The fuck is wrong with you? What? No, I like you. Please stop. Um, She she finds what she has shitty finishes, but then she takes the coolest finishes in the company and just no sells them. The fuck is up with that? That pisses me off.
We
Um,
should send her back to TJPW and they could use the help.
yeah, let's hope they don't send her fucking back in
Oh,
immediately.
dude, her
Um,
and fucking
yeah, no,
Anna J
notice
on
notice
Dark.
how
Oh
notice how
man.
TJPW notice how TJPW got really upset like when Mirai bailed.
Yeah.
But then but then their top star dips, and it's like this is how it was meant to be. This is how it was meant to be. This was the entire point.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, like
it's
they
an
were
interesting
angry at
it's an
all of
interesting
the
thing.
other people leaving, but it's okay now. Like it's yeah.
The more who would have thought? Um, but yeah, Mirai no selling the Everest. Fuck you. Love you. I love Mirai, but fuck you. Um, Kogumin no kicked out of the Miramari shock though, so that was cool. That I popped for. Um, yeah, FWC is just great. Like
Yeah.
that's the issue. Is that it's like this match, zero of what Mirai and Ami did aided in making this match great, in my
Hmm.
opinion. It was all FWC,
Yeah, pretty much.
but they carried it. And in my opinion, I thought it was like a really fun, really good match. No, I will. There's no praise for Mirai and Ami in
Oh,
that. Because yeah, Hazuki did phenomenal. She got something out of Ami for like 20 seconds. I was like, oh, that was a cool strike exchange, and then that was it. Um, yeah,
yeah.
this match shouldn't have happened because it just reminded me, oh, FWC should be champions right
They should have beat
now.
7 Up. Like it's that easy.
Yeah,
But here
like
we are.
really, there's no reason FWC is not champions right
Yeah.
now.
Also,
Especially if Hazuki isn't winning a belt in the next like 6 months, FWC should be champions right now.
yes. Mirai still hasn't like said what she's doing with her Cinderella
Yeah,
wish. Like, what are you doing?
just saving it for a rainy day, my brother.
Yeah. Why the hell not? But yeah, that was that match. Please get the belts off the
It's gonna
new
become Money in
eras.
the Bank.
Oh my god.
It's gonna become Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
She's gonna cash in after the double title match,
Oh
beat
lord.
Mina. Huge.
Maybe she
That'd
will
be so
challenge
funny.
Mayu.
That would be so
I
funny.
thought she would challenge Mayu. Maybe she will. Um,
That would make too much sense,
that
Alex.
is true. But anyway, get the belts off the new eras, please.
Please.
Then we had the main event.
Oh, one more thing about the.
Do
Sorry,
we have
I know
to?
the main event is like the great match. Smallest little thing. Ami asked Natsuko where Ruaka was, and Natsuko was like, "She's Nanai's in her head, bro. She can't. We can't be doing this right now."
That's amazing.
I found that so funny. The idea of Natsuko being like, "Oh, there's no champions. Let's challenge Ruaka's like this fucking Nanai bitch. I can't. I can't focus on nothing else." Like that's great. Love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the post match.
All right.
Oh, one more shitty thing. Ami and Mirai made trying to get count out victories a bit.
Oh, I noticed that. I was like, please, please stop.
And like it was funny, but it was so poorly done that I
Yeah, it
couldn't
was like
even
a
laugh.
16
That's the thing.
count at most.
Yeah, cause they dragged Koguma like like to like the edge of the arena,
Yeah.
forgetting that Koguma runs fast, so she outpaced them back to the ring. I was like, that was bad.
Ami needs all the help
Yeah,
she can get, and they are not giving it to her, and
no, not at
it is
all.
tragic. Um,
It's upsetting.
but anyway, the main event of this show was a Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Mina Shirakawa beat Natsupoi to retain the championship in 20 minutes with a figure four driver, Mina. Um,
Yep,
this was a fantastic match. Like this was
very good.
so good in every way. Like this is the kind of match Tam Nakano dreams of having. Like it was intense. They hit each other hard. They did big moves. It was well paced. There was emotion, but it wasn't like over the top emotion. Like Natsupoi was very visibly emoting in the please root for me kind of way, and Mina Shirakawa was emoting in the I need to win this way, and it was very well done. And I was super into it. Mina Shirakawa is such a massive star. Like I know I said this when she beat Saya, but like they really made her into something because she just made her entrance for this show, and I was like, okay, she's in the stratosphere. Like there's nobody touching her right
See,
now.
like I don't see all that, but this match was fucking phenomenal. Did you like this one more than the side match, or did you like the side
It
match more?
was like about the same, but I would probably put this
Really?
above.
Yeah, because I feel like this was like the best Mina match ever
Yeah.
at this
Which
rate.
is,
Uh,
big match Natsupoi is untouchable, to be fair. Let's
oh,
give
100%,
Natsupoi credit here.
100%.
She is like one of the
No, I
best
yeah.
workers in the company. So
I mean, she's still a loser, but yeah, I mean, she's great. Like she's genuinely
yeah.
phenomenal. Um, I made this reference and I really liked it, so I'm gonna double dip it. I made this reference when I was talking to Scott about this. Have you ever seen Sky High,
I don't think so.
the movie?
No.
You're too Irish for that. There's a Disney movie. There was a maybe it was a Canadian Disney movie. Maybe it's that.
Okay.
That's why there was a movie called Sky High. And it was basically My Hero Academia, but live action in America,
Okay.
and 15 years before My Hero Academia
Nice.
existed. Um, and the entire thing is being segregated into superheroes and sidekicks. And the sidekicks went down a certain lane, the superheroes went down another lane, and that was all in high school.
Mhm.
But in the end, spoiler, the sidekicks saved the day because the heroes were busy being
Whoa.
evil and being useless, right? This was sky high, this match, because Natsupoi has been the biggest sidekick imaginable
Mhm.
for the past like 9 months, and she showed the fuck up. Like she was like, nah, this is my fucking show. This is my everything. I am here. This is me, and I'm gonna deliver. And she killed it. Phenomenal. Like it was. I wouldn't say it was on par or anywhere like even near the Sai Kamitani match from last year. Not Split Head because that was
Oh, that
phenomenal.
was brilliant.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but like really, like Natsupoi knows how to deliver when she's in big matches that aren't against Tam. That's she's like that's just it, right?
Mhm.
There were some funny things. At one point, Natsupoi was throwing forearms. She was slapping her thigh so hard that her thigh looked like it was about to start bleeding. Um, which is just really funny. Cause like she, like it's not like the thigh slap for the kick. It's with the forearms. That's crazy. Like and then another point, Natsupoi was like dominating, and the only people cheering for Mina was Club Venus. Like everybody in the crowd was loving it, and Club Venus was just like, no, like let's go beat it. Everybody's like nah, that's what going crazy. This is
Yeah.
dope. Um, yeah, love this. I will 100% say that I was wrong. I would say I was wrong a million times. This match was great. I said it was going to be mid, or I wasn't very interested in it. I was wrong. Proved wrong. Great. Uh, somebody said it. I think Velke tweeted it. Um, Mina Shirakawa is Hiroshi Tanahashi with boobs.
That was that was me.
Yeah.
He took the screen.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
you? That you're a genius, my friend. That's no, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Like, cause I've been saying that. I was like cause Hiroshi Tanahashi makes me upset, right?
Mhm.
Love Tanahashi, but there's been so many times where like he'll wrestle my favorite wrestler, he'll be getting his ass beat, his knees are getting destroyed, and he just gets up, dragon screw, over.
Yeah.
It's done. From there, he just dismantles his opponent, and it's always my favorite wrestler. And it's always very upsetting. That's Mina's role now,
Yeah.
right? Is that it's like I respect her. I think she is capable of like really good matches, but I don't want to see her win, man. And she about to ruin all my favorites days, and I don't like that. And it's like I respect it though. She's the Tanahashi with with boobs. But I mean Tanahashi has it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very offhand comparison that I made. I just thought it was funny, because I was like,
No, I've been saying this for a while. That I think Mina is like she is getting really good at that Tanahashi
yeah,
style, and that's a credit to her because it takes you're either bad at it or you're good
hmm
at it, and she's
she's
definitely
exceptional.
you
Like
know
her limb work is
yeah she's great
incredible.
at it. It's grown so much
Yeah,
since she began, and yeah, I'll 100% give her credit for that. She has found her she's found her like kind of her groove with it, and now it's just it's really well done. So yeah, shout out to her.
yeah, no, this was a great match. Like if you have any reservations, check it out like as soon as you can. It was
Yeah,
excellent.
100%.
Within like 6 minutes, Natsupoi hit a spinning kick to the back of Mina's head, and I was like, okay, we're here.
Hmm.
We out here. And it just escalated from there. It was fantastic. Um,
Did they do a one thing? Did they do a ramp
they
gimmick?
did, yeah. I think Natsupoi.
They need to
Yeah,
stop.
they're never good.
Because yeah, they
Yeah.
did that. They did
In
do that.
fairness,
They need to stop. Everybody needs to stop.
they're all better than Tam because she just like runs for a bit
Yes.
longer before doing a very bad knee. Um,
Unless you're throwing someone off of the ramp,
yeah,
like like the large drop, I don't care.
that is fair.
You know what I mean? Like, just do it outside of the ring. Like, you don't have to go up the ramp. It's a bit tedious. But yeah, really great match. And this is coming from someone who's not a big Mina fan and someone who's made fun of Poi nonstop recently. I knew they both can have great matches. I didn't expect this one to be one of them. It completely blew away my expectations. They were great. Loved this. Not excited for Mina Tam though. Fuck that.
I mean, I feel like Mina could get the best out of her, just based on this and the Saya match. I don't know. I trust Mina.
You know what? I hope Joker Mina comes back so
Oh
we could
God.
just so I
Okay.
could just rip it apart.
But yeah, I mean that match was like if there was any doubt that they established Mina Shirakawa as a star, I think it died with this match because she was just the crowd was so into her and she felt like a star, and then she delivered in the big spot, and yeah, just long may she hold this belt because she's gonna have some cool matches with it. Um,
Nah,
and that was that show.
Mike taking it next month.
Of course. It ended up being a really good show, like a very important show. They kicked off a lot of new stuff from, because I don't think we had considered it, but they had basically finished most of their big arcs at Yokohama Arena, so they had to kick off a lot of
Yeah,
them with this show, and you could see the beginnings of some of the next few months of Stardom, and how they're going to tell stories. So yeah, it ended up being very interesting with a lot of fun matches.
I'll say I think I think the 5 stars looking really interesting because they are holding out on singles matches
Yes. Oh, dude,
like
that.
noticeably. Like not even they're not even giving like fucking I don't know like a Hanan versus Suzu type of
Mhm.
thing away. And that's a match you can do on any given house show that would be interesting but not really super important. But they're like holding out on basically everything they possibly can when it comes to singles stuff. So I'm yeah, the 5 stars looking really
Mhm.
interesting. 'Cause it feels like everybody, it feels very connected in all ways. Like everybody in the roster feels like it has some type of relationship with one another, and but not all of the matches have been given away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's
yeah,
there's a
I'm
lot of
I'm
cool
I'm
stuff
excited.
to do there. Now just to fill some more time, we did ask in our Discord for some questions to answer. So I guess we can just run through those.
Yeah, we're just not doing Golden Week because there's nothing.
We
there,
couldn't see
like,
it, and most of it won't really matter. And the stuff that did matter, we've already
yeah,
covered because it was, announcements for future stuff. Um,
yes.
First question then was thoughts on Club Venus running wild in Stardom. Um, yeah, it's good.
No, that's not what he
I
said.
know he said calcium, but he. um, but yeah, the
That's
Club
funny.
Venus and the Cosmic Angels running Stardom. Yeah, that's cool. It's idols are the backbone of Joshi, have been since the inception of wrestling in Japan. Um, so yeah, let's get
Eh,
it.
uh,
Yeah, you're
no, and I obviously have changed my tune slightly in recent in the past week because of the Mina match and because you know they're Soriano's killing it. There's a lot of value in the Angel verse, um, the Cosmic verse, as Farah says in the next one. Um, but it definitely takes away from some of my enjoyment because I personally don't have a lot of personal uh, investment in all of these
Yeah.
wrestlers. They can have great matches, and I could really enjoy their matches. But even Anu, who I like a lot, if she wins a match, I don't get excited because I'm just not the biggest Anu fan in the world. I just think she's awesome. But like when somebody like Utami or Azumi or a lot of stars in QQ, for example, or Maika, when they win, it's like, yeah, like this is dope. And so that's where my hang up still is. I can recognize they all bring a lot of value, but yeah, ugh, it's a bit. I'm me.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah. You are you. Then we had a non-Stardom related question. Thoughts on Yuka Sakazaki leaving Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling? Um, yeah, it's good. I've never been the biggest fan of Yuka. She's very inconsistent, I find. Unless she's teaming with Mizuki, who's like the best wrestler in DJPW. And I feel like over the last year or two, she's mainly just been a roadblock for a lot of the more promising and interesting younger wrestlers. I mean, her beating Miyu.
That Miyu
Yeah,
Watanabe
like
shit
her
was
beating
crazy.
Miyu is just a
That was the
real.
most depressing match I've ever like. That was one of the most depressing matches I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
like the Hikari Noah one as well, and like Hikari Noah has just been doing nothing ever since, and it's like, yeah, because she got geeked by Yuka. I mean, that was like, your international princess champion, and you just treated her like shit. So yeah, I mean, I felt like she became a roadblock. The company was just too eager to lean on her as a crutch whenever they needed to do something that wasn't Miyu Yamashita. Um, so yeah, her leaving and them kind of being forced into elevating, somebody like a Yuki Arai or a Miyu Watanabe, or even if they want to really get behind Rika Tatsumi, who's like, easily one of their best wrestlers, then yeah, that would be pretty cool. So I'm all for it, and I'm sure she'll do some fun stuff in America. I mean, they wanted to run back her and Athena or something. That would be cool. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's another Yuka question,
Probably.
but I don't know it. But so I'll say it here. Um, this is kind of proof in the pudding why Russi doesn't work with bigger companies. Um, and he never has really. Uh, Ring of Honor wasn't really bigger. Like there was nobody from Stardom was going to be like, "Oh my God, this is incredible! I'm going to become a Ring of Honor full
Yeah.
timer." Um, and I mean, what Lucha Underground was before that, and I think Widescreen was like, my guess is that uh Io and Kyrie really liked wrestling at Lucha Underground and they wanted to wrestle in America more because of that. And I was like, I think there was probably more to it than that, but that has some merit. That's like the reason why Rossi's so hesitant to get into America, is so hesitant to send his wrestlers over to America, is because once they if they feel it, I mean, it's the same with Mercedes in the inverse, right? It's like you don't want Mercedes to go to America, or you don't want Mercedes to go to Japan if you like American wrestling and want to see her wrestling in America primarily.
Hmm.
You don't want her to wrestle in Japan because Japan is going to kind of lure something out of her. It might not, it might give her that bug and want to wrestle more there. Uh, you don't really know. For her, it did, and that's how it seems right now. It's the inverse, right? Yuka Sakazaki has gotten championship shots in AEW, and it seems like she's going to be in AEW moving forward. Like next year that will be her relocating to AEW. Not even in the Konosuke Takeshita way, which is the funny part of this, is that Takeshita's like, oh yeah, I'll just have a double contract and like wrestle in DDT when they need me, and like I'm cool. Like if you ever need me, I'm around. And Yuka's like, I am never. No, I, you want me to come in to job to somebody every couple months? Fuck that. I am leaving. That's really funny to me. Um, but yeah, that's why. I mean, one of the multiple reasons why I imagine Rossi doesn't want to work with AEW, or any bigger company for that matter, because it's easy to lure somebody
Yeah.
away
Well,
if you are a bigger company and you have a
you have to remember
a
he
working
was there
relationship.
when WWF tried to work with AJW and was like, "Oh yeah, we'll
Hmm.
like share talent with you," and I was like, "All right, bull." thanks, come on over. And then didn't they try to sign Aja
Hmm.
or Toyota as well? Like in
I think they tried to get Aja.
yeah, like they tried to sign all of the big stars from AJW.
He also dealt with Arjan
Yeah.
and AJW, where it's like they started working with AJW, and some of his wrestlers were like, "Damn, Rossi fucking sucks. I'm going back to AJW." Like that was something that happened, like I don't know as much about that, but something along those lines also happened. Like this is a frequent thing of, Rossi works for a company and they start teaming with or they start working with, you know, a bigger company and it backfires.
Hmm.
So that's, I think this Yuka stuff is kind of indicative of him being kind of right on that.
Yeah, I mean, I was always very confused by Wrestle Universe and that whole crew just being like, "Hey, take our wrestlers, like we don't care." And I was like, "That's not gonna end well." And yeah, I mean, Takeshita and Yuka potentially relocating. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is an interesting thing to kind of think about is that it's like AEW doesn't take excursion wrestlers,
Mm.
but they will take your actual wrestlers. You know what I mean?
That's
Like they are not doing
that's
you
how
any
it works. I
favors.
mean, like if you're New Japan, it's like, okay, you're great, but you signed Jay White from us, and most people seem to believe Will is going in 12 months' time. So if I'm New Japan, I'm like, why would I work with you? You're stealing my top wrestlers. Like, it's
Yeah.
very interesting. But yeah, that's Yuka Sakazaki. Um, then we have Stardom related question. Early favorites to win the 5 star.
There's a couple of
Yeah, a few
these
similar
about
ones.
the 5 star.
I would say, I mean, Suriano is where I'm leading right now. If she
Really?
signs, I think she wins and challenges Tam. Um, if not her, maybe Maika wins and challenges for the white belt, and they do that because they have done that before. Um, but yeah, so like at the moment, those are the ones that I would think because a lot of the obvious names have won it now. I mean, Julia's won it, Utami, Mayu. I mean, Saya isn't gonna win it. She's just coming off a big run, so it's like you are looking a bit more left field towards somebody like a Sayori or a Micah or something.
Um, yeah, I mean, this is just asking for an early favorite. Um, Easiest answer is Utami for me. I mean, she can win too.
Mm,
Who cares? I think the issue is, and this kind of relates to the Yuka thing as well, is giving a wrestler too much too soon. Um, because somebody like Julia could dip since she's already what the third, fourth, no, yeah, the fourth most decorated wrestler in Stardom
yeah.
history, or the fifth most decorated, I should say. She can dip if she wanted to. There's nothing, unless she really, and I imagine she does have a lot of, want to be in Stardom and want to get back to the top, win it multiple times, win the IWGP, all that shit. She could just dip, right? Because she's won
Hmm.
everything that she presumably wants to win. So that's kind of an issue where it's like, do you want to give Utami 2 tournament wins within her first 5 years? Ah, you know, that's a decision you're gonna have to make. But I think Utami is the early favorite for me. Depending on if Micah challenges before the 5 star or not, I think Micah is definitely up there. Um, I could even see a Micah Utami final, but I think Utami has to win that. Uh, so that might not be great. But yeah, if Micah has challenged by then it's Utami. If Micah hasn't, then I think Micah has a chance.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, you can never really rule out Utami.
Maybe Suzu. I mean,
Uh,
you could also
I don't
run
know.
Suzu.
I don't know about Suzu. Um, Next question is, who are your front runners to take the red belt? Utami. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's
Utami.
gonna beat Tam because
It's and they also asked if Julia run back is in question. I fucking hope not.
I
Uh,
feel like the
I don't want to see Tam Julia right
yeah,
now.
I mean, I feel like the most
Like,
obvious choice is Utami dropping to Julia, and that being how you get
yeah,
Julia's proper run. Um, so I would go Utami, and then Julia. Um, and yeah, I see they mentioned Saya Kamatani, but I don't really see her in that picture yet. I mean, she's just coming off a historic
yeah,
run with the white belt. They're probably gonna want to cool her down a little bit. So
just a
yeah,
tad. Because like she's great, but I don't even know if she. And I've said this before. I don't know if she wins the red belt or if becomes like a multi-time white belt
yeah,
winner. Like that's also a possibility. We will see, obviously, but I don't think Sai is anywhere near the red belt right
yeah,
now.
that's fair. Um,
Also, don't want to see Saya versus Tam
that is
again.
true.
Like they've had like one match that I've liked out of their four. I'm good.
The next one is, how does it feel to be in the cosmic verse for the next 6 months? Yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, I think it'll be fine. I mean, it's fun waiting for Sayori to throw Tam through the barbershop window. Like, that is very fun. Um,
You know what's rough is that I'm starting to really like the Anu version of Cosmic Angels, and like, but that's gonna happen. You know what I mean? The one time that something like actually like cool and like something that I can live with, like this kind of dynamic, it's not lasting the year.
yeah,
You know what I
very
mean?
much so. And I mean, if you're including Club Venus in that, well, I mean, I'm very into a lot of the people in Club Venus. So if Mina can drag them up with her, then that's good to me. So,
Terrible.
okay. Um, what's your odds split on the QQ drama likelihood of Utami and Saya working things out versus a big split? I think it's like a 5% chance they split. Um, but they're
Um,
probably gonna stay
it,
together.
it depends on what they do. And like I was kind of alluding to this earlier. One thing that I can kind of see happening, and this is a bit of like a fantasy booking type of
Hmm.
gimmick, is Utami bailing, maybe taking one of the younger wrestlers, like not younger, but you know, like a Lady C, a Miyu, or a Hina, and taking Ida from Stars and just running like a trio. You know, not really even doing a faction, just kind of doing like the Suzu Mesera gimmick, and just kind of having, you know, and I mean there's underlings that they can tag with now, and it seems like there's more in the training process. I remember hearing. So I mean, like, you can just have kind of offshoots, uh like Strong Style in New Japan. If anybody watches New Japan, Strong Style is just a trio that, you know, they're forced to tag with like Hantai with the Sekigun because, you know, there's only three of them, but they're very much that isolated trio. I could see them kind of just running that because I feel like Utami and Ida could use each other.
Mm,
Um, and I think, you know, like that's what I see in comparison to an Utami to a Uedo Tai or an Utami to anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I see Utami kind of just breaking off and just kind of running a very small uh group. I don't even know if you would call it a faction, you know, like a just a trio or even just a tag team, with some people coming in and out.
yeah,
That's the only way I see a QQ split whatsoever. Here is something like that. I don't see her going anywhere, or, you know, there being this civil war within QQ, because I feel like QQ does not have the infrastructure for that.
no. I mean, I would. I don't really. Again, I don't think they're gonna split at all. But if they were, I
No,
feel like Saya would be the one to go. Um, because then you can give her her own faction, which they like to do nowadays. Um, but I mean, I wouldn't split them. I don't think they are gonna
which
split.
I will say that's one more thing. I don't like how they're going with that. I feel like number twos and factions should be able to win championships. This has always been a problem, pretty much. Um, Outside of like Arisa, I just let number twos win championships. Like, you do not need to split every single faction, just because like just just let more people be stars within a faction. And that's an issue throughout wrestling. Like, this isn't a Stardom specific issue, but just let wrestlers, you know, be cool.
Yes.
You don't always have to split a faction.
That is valid. The next question then was, who do you think will have the better career going forward, Starlight Kid or Azumi? I like,
Meltzer was asked this.
yes, he was. You're obviously going to disagree, but I feel like it's Starlight Kid. She's just more marketable. She's got more charisma.
Yeah.
Um, like
No.
every time I see something about Starlight Kid, it's some like older wrestler being like, "Oh, she's the future of Joshi," and it's like, yeah, that is valid. Um, so yeah, I feel like Kid is
I
gonna run
agree
away
with
with
Dave.
it.
I agree with Dave Meltzer, who said it was Azumi. But no, I think this is how I see it. Azumi can leave, right? Azumi could leave Stardom, and I think she would be successful elsewhere.
In
I
what
think
way?
Kid is very.
What? Where does she go? She goes and fucking
I don't
loses
know.
to
Anywhere, no,
Kyoko in a
because
way. Like, what do you want?
easy. No, well, fuck. She can go to America. She can go anywhere. No, my point is that I think Starlight Kid is more likely to, if Azumi wanted to dip, if a third huge Joshi company fucking skyrocketed out of the air, and Kid or Azumi wanted to leave, Azumi would succeed in that other company more than Kid would.
Okay.
But I think that Kid is probably the one that they see higher moving forward. I obviously think Azumi's a better wrestler, and I think Azumi is, um, I think she's a better talker. I think she's better at just kind of a lot of those sorts of things. But Kid is the more marketable one, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like that's just quite frankly, like she's one of the few masked Joshi wrestlers to really like stand out
Mm-hmm.
like ever. You know what I mean? Like in a long time at least. So, that's something more than a lot of wrestlers have been in the past. So she has things to her that are like intrinsic that you can't really compare the two in a certain way, but obviously they're always going to be compared. And in that way, I think Kid has the trajectory that Stardom has her going way further than Azumi. But I think Azumi just fundamentally has more potential as a wrestler. Uh, just that's kind of how I view it. But yeah, probably Kid because you know.
Yes, she is the bigger star. Um, then we had your biggest dream matches between Stardom wrestlers and wrestlers in any other promotion, or even just freelancers. Um, this is a hard one. 'Cause I don't think anything like obvious jumps off the page because there's nobody like outside of
We've said it
Stardom
like a million
now that's
times.
like super amazing.
Yeah, we've said it a million times, but like Mia Momono versus anybody.
Yeah,
like, uh,
maybe like actually, yeah, I'd be really into this Bianca Belair versus Mayu Iwatani because like Bianca just turns it on for big matches, and I think
yeah.
she, given Mayu the works, would make for a really good heel versus babyface match. Or if Mayu just wanted to beat the shit out of her, I think that would also be fun. So actually, yeah, Mayu versus Bianca.
Um, Maika versus Itsuki Aoki.
Oh, oh yeah,
That would be
I
fun.
like that one.
There are the thing is that like the Joshi Indies don't have a ton of like star power, quote unquote, but there are so many good wrestlers. Put Anaki against literally anybody on the Stardom roster, it will be a good match, except for maybe like Aya Sakura. Uh, like it will be a good
Yeah.
match. There's no doubt in my mind. Um, Especially because Stardom is kind of catered to wrestling against power wrestlers because they've had a pretty strong core of power wrestlers in the company in recent years. So a lot of Stardom wrestlers know how to wrestle against a power wrestler. Anaki versus anybody. That's a big one. Um, Anybody that used to be in max voltage, I've realized.
Yes.
I just just put them against anybody. Takase, put her against anybody. Nanai, they are putting against people, and it's great. You know, Anaki, Tsuki, just yeah, all of them.
All right.
There's some tag matches too. The um the blondes from Seedling. What are their tag name? Rico
The
and
Young
Sosagura.
Strawberries.
Yeah, put them against fucking FWC or something. I don't know. Like, just there are good matches. Like, trust me,
Yeah.
I can name plenty. But a lot of these are, the Josie Indies are kind of on a in a slump right now. So
Yes.
they're harder to kind of pick out.
I think once upon a time we were asked this and we said Momoas versus the Lucha Brothers or something. And yeah, I
Oh, if
mean,
we're talking intergender, there's a whole
yeah,
nother
I
layer
figured it
to that.
was intergender, but I would still go with Bianca versus Mayu. Um,
I'd still go with mine,
yeah,
but an intergender match would be like I don't know who's somebody small.
I don't know.
Because like you want a male wrestler that will be okay with at least somewhat selling
Yeah,
out
I mean, you
for a
could just
women's
put
wrestler.
Phoenix in
You know what
there,
I
and
mean?
I feel like some of them would
Yeah,
throw
that's
him
what I mean. Is
around.
that Phoenix
Like
versus
most of this
yeah,
roster would beat the crap out of Phoenix, and he would make it cool
yeah,
because he's awesome.
Commander versus Azumi.
Of course, yeah.
That's what we running. Commander
All
versus
right.
Azumi. Like Kingo versus Azumi.
Yes, of
Just
course.
get Azumi in Mexico, bro.
Let's see. What's the next question? Scott asked, "Why am I not on the show enough?" Scott, you do about 10 different shows. Nobody wants to hear from you on this one, so sorry about that, bud.
Also, Alex doesn't like
Yeah,
editing
it's a
three
whole
tracks,
it's a
so
whole extra bit of effort.
it's a whole
For
nother
some
dimension,
reason
man.
it adds like so much memory that needs to be freed up
Hmm.
for the show, even though it's just one track. And it's just not worth it. The next one is if you could have a Stardom wrestler on the show, who would you want it to be? Um, feel like we'd have to have Mayu on the show. Like she's just a wealth of knowledge. Like you could ask her so much about, the formation of Stardom and working with people like Arisa Hoshiki and Yoshiko and like Yuzuki Aikawa.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like Mayu would be the obvious one because she's been there for it all.
Um, this is gonna come out of left field to most people. I think Julio would be a
Who?
fun. I don't know why. Just kind of like, and I'm not the biggest Julia fan. Everybody knows this. Um, but I think like just talking to Julia would be really fun. In this sort of sense, kind of like interview slash just kind of talking about Stardom currently. I think that'd be really fun. Um, like Julia's an interesting one. She's even though I don't enjoy her wrestling as much as a lot of people do. Like I'm not the biggest Julia fan. I really want to read like her columns,
Hmm.
right? And you can't because I don't speak Japanese. But just because I'm like interested in her take on things, which is strange for someone that I'm not like a crazy big fan of, but I find her wrestling very interesting. And I find her view of wrestling very interesting, and her view on most things very interesting. So yeah, I would probably pick Julia, which is not who I even expected to pick, but I think it would be
All
Julia.
right. I mean, I'm here for it. Next question then is thoughts on the SWA belt returning and Stardom opening up to
Yes,
foreign talent.
maybe.
We've always kind of been into the foreign talent. I feel like it freshens things up in the undercard and it lets you discover wrestlers that you probably never would have seen before. I mean, without Stardom, does most people watch Layla Hirsch before she ends up in AEW? Probably not. Do most
No,
of us even know?
I mean Jamie Hayter wouldn't be the wrestler who she is
Yeah,
if she
Jamie
wasn't in Stardom
Hayter,
for
Mariah
the time she
May.
was.
I mean, aside from like two people
Yeah,
that I know, there was nobody who knew Mariah May when she debuted. Like, foreign
no,
wrestlers coming in gives you a chance to discover these people. And it's obviously a good way for Stardom to like find new talent because they, unlike TJPW, who's like, okay, you're gonna come over and you're gonna like main event our Corkin and then you go away. Stardom's like, okay, you do a tour. We see if we like you, and if you're cool, you can stay. And if you're not, then you can go home, like Zaya. Um, so yeah, I
hmm
think I like how Stardom does it, and yeah, the SWA belt needs to come back because Mariah May or
100%.
Tekla could get that and just have really fun matches.
Yeah, need the SWA belt back, please. As for foreign talent, yeah, I'm cool with it. It's interesting because I feel like Stardom has a pretty good return rate on foreign talent. Uh, Especially if you don't count like 2017, which is probably their worst like worst crop of foreign talent. uh Brandy was in 2018, but we don't talk about that. um Britt Baker was also 2018. It was rough.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough there for a while. 2019 was a good year, I would say, for the most part. Like all the wrestlers were at least not dog shit. um and they grew over time in Stardom, and that's always what you want. uh But yeah, I always thought that wrestlers who go to Stardom almost always leave better
Yeah.
than they went into it. It's not the case with TGPW. There are plenty of great wrestlers who go to TGPW and are still great when they come out of it, obviously. But there are also plenty of wrestlers who go to TGPW, you know, that are and they're not good, and then they go to TGPW and they're no better when they come back out of it. That's just how it is. Um, so yeah, I think Stardom is in a way good for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you go to Stardom. Anna Jay said that she wanted to wrestle Julia. No. Um, you can come over. You can come over. Take some bumps. You can get beat up by Baraka. Maybe eventually you'll get a match with Julia. Calm down, honey. Um, but yeah, no. In general, that was a joke. That was a bit. I don't care if she wanted to go to Stardom and like genuinely improve and all that. I think she has potential. If she actually had a good training system behind her and put a lot of effort in. But yeah, I think foreign wrestlers in Stardom is net positive. Um, Especially nowadays, they need the SWA belt
Mm-hmm.
back, um, because some of these wrestlers are too good to not be challenging for belts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Mariah May is too good to not be challenged for a belt. Tekla is too good to not be challenging for a belt. So, and I mean, also if you have a belt, you could defend that against Momo Watanabe.
Mm-hmm.
You can give Mariah May versus Momo Watanabe match, and that's great. Like that will be a good match, undoubtedly. So I have been gung ho on this to be about coming back. Tekla and Mariah May both tweeted like, "We need this fucking belt back, Rossi. So please give us the fucking belt back." Uh, and yeah, I'm all for it. I'm with them.
All right. The next question then, this is kind of a repeat. It's early 5-star predictions. Who's primed to have big runs? Because we've already said who we think is going to win.
Where'd you get this one from?
The Discord. Yeah.
Oh, I
All
skipped over
right.
that because I thought,
So
yeah,
who's primed to have a big run? I suppose it depends on who's in it. I feel like
yeah,
your May Sarahs are gonna have good runs. Maybe a Hanan if she's in it. Um, Maika obviously is definitely primed for a good tournament. Suzu is the obvious one as well. So I feel like people who are either in their first one or who have started to get pushed are the most likely. Somebody like Sore is
yeah.
probably gonna do worse than we've expected because she's already got that, first year bump in the tournament. And it's gonna level out. Whereas, May Sarah, if she's in it, they're gonna want to give her like 10-ish points. Um,
This also all depends on the blocks
yeah.
because like I was looking at my spreadsheet of last year. It was so blue. Like the blue block was so much better than the red block. That red block had like four of my favorite wrestlers in it, but they ranked so low because it was just an inconsistent block. So like, if May Sarah's in a good block, she'll fucking deliver. But if she's not, she might not. Like last year, Micah did like was bottom 8 in the tournament for my spreadsheet because she just didn't have that many great opponents. They didn't mesh well for all the time. Uh, so it all depends on the blocks, what they do with that. I think that's another question that we didn't get asked, but how do we fit this many people in it? No clue. They're
Yeah.
gonna have to figure that one out. I say multiple blocks. I'm cooler with and that reduces the amount of matches that we got to watch. So I'm all for that. Doing 3 or 4
Mhm.
blocks instead of two. That's my take. But yeah, Micah's the obvious one again of having a good run. Uh, there are wrestlers who always have good runs. Utami is going to have a good run. Saya Kamatani is probably going to have a good run. If Ida's in it, she's pretty inconsistent, but she seems like she kind of has a fire lit under her ass right now. She might deliver big, but it's a bit hopeful on my part that she's even in it. Yeah, like I said earlier, the 5-star is looking
Yeah,
good. Like the 5-star has a lot of value going into it.
indeed. The next question then is how would you rate your enjoyment of Stardom now and compared to right before the pandemic? Um, I mean, this is a tough one because we've said it a lot, but Stardom heading into the COVID break was on a run of about 12
Yeah.
months where it was one of the most enjoyable things I've ever seen as a wrestling fan.
Hmm.
Like, you just can't compare what we had in, 2019 into 2020 to anything they've done since. So, I mean, obviously it's a 10 out of 10 for before it. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like now they're like quite clearly just the best Joshi promotion, and the shows are always amazing. So it's about an 8 now, but because they do go through spells where like nothing is happening, whereas I didn't feel like that used to be the case.
And back in the day, yeah, when nothing was happening back in the day, it was fun.
Yes.
Like that was some of my favorite shows was when nothing fucking happened, because it was just Oedo Tai doing bits. It was just stars being weirdos and nerds. It was Queen's Quest being like, "What the? These people are losers. Holy shit! I need to kill them." Like that was just like the whole us complaining about house shows did not exist. I used to wait at my computer for Hina versus Rena 17 to fucking get uploaded because I was just so excited to consume more Stardom. Um, the big thing now is live shows.
Mm.
I think that's the one thing that is firmly better now than it was back then. But that's also, way more. That costs a lot of money, and that's kind of sucks. And they don't have it on Storm World, and that uh. So yeah, obviously I I'd time travel back to 2019 Stardom if I could.
Yeah.
Uh, but now it's fun. Uh, like I don't dislike it. I'm not as bitter as I once was about modern Stardom. But it definitely is something where it's like, man, if this was 4 years ago, you know, Stardom was my fucking happiness 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like that sounds really fucking lame, but it was like that was what I looked forward to in my life. Every day was a new Stardom match coming up. Now I thoroughly enjoy it. It's part of my life, obviously. Still, it's even bigger part of my life because I do this and I write about it and I do this and that. But yeah, there you'll never see a wrestling company have that vibe.
Yes, it was
You know,
pure
I
vibes.
will
Like,
always, I will continue looking for that vibe until the day I die.
yeah,
That there was in that in late 2018, 2019 Stardom. I got it in a very good time, and so did you. I think we got it around the
yeah,
same month.
roughly the same time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the previous run is incomparable, but they're exceptional right now still. Um,
Mhm.
the next question then is, what would be the most needed faction change going forward? None.
You
Did
missed
I?
one. Spoon. The way that
Ha
I put
ha
up with Alex
ha
on a daily
ha.
basis, um, is I don't like we talk every week. But I wouldn't say I don't know how he puts up with me on a daily basis. I'm the one who always texts him random tweets I see and shit. Uh, yeah, Alex. I only have to deal with Alex, quote unquote, once a week because he doesn't bother me. Uh, I bother him, um, and how I do that is just by taking his insults on the chin and then insulting him back.
Yeah, that is valid. That is pretty fair. Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna do that question, but yeah, what's the most needed faction change? Preferably none. The factions are razor thin
Right
as
now we're
is.
cool.
But if
Yeah,
we had to make one, Hazuki getting her own kind of spotlight, maybe that would be cool. Um,
that would suck, but I
yeah.
get it. I mean, back to the
Oh
Utami
god,
thing. Utami, Hazuki, and
hell
Ida.
yeah, give it to me.
That's a trio.
Let me have it.
Like
I want it.
that's a
Yeah.
trio right there. And you don't have to get any bigger than that.
That's true. So yeah, Hazuki getting her own thing, or just a draft to reshuffle kind of the lower ends of the factions. And yeah,
Yeah, I would say just do a draft
yeah,
and just kind of. I mean, most of it could stay the same. Like I don't think most of it needs to be changed, but I think a draft would kind of help just kind of structure things a bit more. And Suzu can get a home,
mm,
Macer can get a home, all that stuff.
true. The next one was Dylan. Can you explain what you like about Oz Academy and why Scott and the general consensus thinks you're crazy for it? Um,
Part of it's a bit.
yeah,
Part of it is a bit like I don't watch that much Oz Academy. In fact, I tweeted that's like, it was the question was, oh, what's one wrestler that you like and everybody else hates? And I said, um, Sekigun in Oz Academy. And then I put in quotes in parentheses, I have seen 3 Sekigun matches in the past year. Because that's true. Like I don't watch that much Oz Academy. But their roster's insane. Like quite frankly, they don't always take advantage of that. But if you look on paper, Oz Academy probably has the best
yep,
cards. But it's never
no,
great. You know what I mean? Like no Star Oz Academy is Oz Academy show is like, you must see this. But there's nowhere else that you get that much that many high caliber wrestlers on the same show. It's insane.
yeah.
Like really, like just look at I remember I was looking at fucking a January card and I was like this isn't right. Like how is this not the greatest company in the
hmm
world? It's because they aren't always executed as well.
Yeah,
Um
for somebody who maybe hasn't seen it, the entire promotion, depending on your perspective, is weighed down.
it's Ozaki fan
Yeah,
service.
like
That's the
Naomi
only reason
Ozaki
it
has
is.
done the heel shtick for, 30 years now, basically. Um, and that's
25.
all Oz Academy is when her faction is involved. It's interference after interference,
Mhm.
cheating, ruining the flow of matches. They used to have police who would like blow his whistle all the time and like beat up the women, and it was really annoying. So you will occasionally see these like amazing matches on paper, and you go to watch it, and you get 2 minutes of good wrestling, and 80% is heel heat with constant interference. And for a lot of people, we don't want to see that because most people got into wrestling like this because we were annoyed by WWE always doing that, or in my case,
Mhm.
I got sick and tired of Suzuki going to Bullet Club doing the same shit every time in New Japan. So seeing an entire
Yeah,
promotion.
Sugagun got great after they stopped doing that every
Yeah,
single
'cause
fucking
they would
show.
attack people
Like they
before
got
the
so
bell on
good.
every match, and I
Yeah,
was like, I don't even
yeah, it
care
was it
anymore.
was rough.
So yeah, when you have an entire promotion that's almost dedicated to that, it kind of sucks, especially when they do have such a
Which
talented roster, and it's just
Yeah, which is why I suggest not watching every Oz
yeah,
Academy show. Like, if you want to check out Oz Academy, like I talk about it, it's like I enjoy Ozaki-gun matches because I don't watch that many Ozaki-gun matches, right? Like, and I talk about this match all the time just because I remember, it meaning a lot to me. If I rewatched it today, I'd probably be like, "Oh, this isn't that good." Dynamite Kansai versus Mayumi Ozaki, Dynamite's retirement match. It was just so much heat and so much bullshit, and then Ozaki just finally fucking beat her, and it was just this like Korakuen. It felt like they exploded, right? It just like was like this great moment, right? Uh, because I don't watch that much of that shit, like because I don't watch that much of that Oz Academy, that meant something, Like if I'm watching a Shinjuku face match and that just happens, every week at every show and I watch every single one of them, I'm not going to like it as much. But because, the matches I pick are usually, spaced out and oh, this was like a fun, you know, they really they got the heat going and then it exploded and it was cool. But if I watched it constantly, if I watched every show, I would probably hate it too.
yeah,
I get it.
it's that's not good. The next question then is, what's in a worse state, Queen's Quest or Chelsea? Um, yeah, I mean, listen, we don't talk about.
Chelsea.
Well, see, you can say Chelsea, but their
No.
women's team is about to
Well,
win the league for like the fourth year in a row. So I mean, at least one of the Chelsea teams is doing great. Like they were just in the semifinals of the Champions League. So the women are really flying the flag for Chelsea. It's just the men's team that's in disarray. So
yeah.
it's about equal because Queen's Quest has no belts and Chelsea's men have no
You know, I I
titles. But
still I still hate Chelsea from when Diego Costa was
oh,
around. 'Cause I fucking hated that
he's my
guy.
hero. I love him. Such a combative
Fucking
prick.
hate
Like
that
you
guy.
need him. You need people like him in football. It's so boring and sanitized.
Okay, but when you're getting into it and you watch Manchester United versus fucking Chelsea and Diego Costa's just a fucking
Yeah,
asshole
because they
to
deserve
like
it.
your favorite players, it's like, die, bro. I hate you.
Yeah.
Like I can't stand that asshole,
Oh
bro.
no, he's a
Um
great.
but that's the last time I was like paying attention to Chelsea football, because I was like, I fucking hate these motherfuckers. I want them to lose every
Oh
game.
God. Well, I mean, your wish came true eventually, so it's
Yeah, but he's at the fucking Wanderers or whatever
yeah,
now.
he really fell off.
Yeah.
The next question then is thoughts on Unagi's indie run and how she's the new Jungle Kiona. I assume Jungle Kiona means that she's like a jobber to the stars kind of thing, like she's puts over top names because that's what Kiona did. Yeah, Unagi's run on the indies is like entertaining, but it's also a big what could have
It's
been.
fallen off, I feel
Yeah,
like.
because
Yeah.
it had potential to be her like showing up and kind of like terrorizing every promotion and it being like this really fun storyline. But then they all just went, "Oh, you're losing to our ace or a legend." Like,
Or she kicked out the only member of the late division.
yeah, like I don't know how Sendai Girls or Diana just was like, "Oh, you're just gonna lose to Kyoko Inoue." Like, what? Like, why? Like, it's
I think it's because they realize that she's around for the long haul.
I
So
guess,
it's like,
but
oh, we don't
just
fucking care.
put her over. Make like she felt like a star for that first while on the Indies, and it felt like they had a chance
Yeah.
to really put stock into somebody who could be this like traveling, top star for a couple of them. Kind of like Miyuki Takase when she left Actress Girls. But much like Takase, the entire scene was like, no, you're just going to be in like random tags now and you're going to
To be
lose to
fair,
Legends.
Takase at least had a good 6 months. I would say
Eh,
Unagi kind of crumbled
I don't know.
like 3 months in.
So I don't know. She did
Yeah,
feel
that Takumi match that everybody liked, I thought was like okay,
really?
especially for Takumi. I
Nah.
thought I thought Takumi has way better matches. I thought it was like a solid match nonetheless, but I was just like, oh, that's a bit concerning. This is Unagi's greatest match of all time. I'm concerned.
I thought that was
I've
a
seen
good
a lot of
match, a
Unagi,
really
so
good
I
match. So,
you know
but yeah, I mean, I appreciate what the Nagi does. But it was definitely just a case for a while there where it was very frustrating. Of like you had a ready-made star handed to you, and you all said no, we will put over our ace because God forbid you push anybody else. Um, so yeah, but she's gonna be fun and she's gonna be around for the long haul because she is not coming back to Stardom. Uh,
Yeah, she's off the roster page now.
yeah, like she's gone. So
Yeah,
yeah,
gone, gone.
I mean, credit to her, she's still like making it work on the indies. She gets a lot of bookings, so
I mean, she's yeah,
good for her.
she's popular and all over the place, but the matches I've seen from her on the indies are not phenomenal.
Yeah, which is why they
At
should have
least I'm not a
leaned
big
into the
fan of it.
gimmick of her terrorizing everybody. It would have been fun.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, like she's one of the people who could have benefited from leaning into comedy stuff. I think we talked about this with a few people, like Natsu Sumire. Just why is she why is she doing serious wrestling? Just
yeah,
have her do the bits, because that's kind of her for Natsu especially. That's Natsu's like bread and butter. She's one of the greatest undercard wrestlers of all time, because she's so like she just gets the like comedy aspect of it and just the nuisance aspect of it. And then Noah has her wrestling serious matches against Yukihi and sometimes winning.
yeah.
Why?
Um, I do hate to do this. We probably should speed this up because we've got a lot of questions still to go. Um,
Okay,
will Ice Ribbon bounce back? Probably not. They
no.
are good at pushing new people, but I don't think the situation is great for them. And if they do come back, it will be a long-term rebuild.
Yeah, I mean they have like outsiders coming in more often, I
Hmm.
guess. And that's the first time I've wanted to watch it because Miyamoto's there sometimes, and now Miyagi's there. Uh, so like that's the first time I've wanted to watch it in a while. But at the same time, I don't really see a lot of value in it, and I don't see the value going up anytime soon.
Yeah. Who will have more goals scored by the end of the season, Chelsea or Haaland? I mean Haaland. He's absurd. Um,
That's tough.
do you think Ida needs to leave Stars to progress and fill her golden generation tag, or is she now a lost cause?
I don't think she's a lost
I feel
cause,
like,
but I don't think she has a lot of upward trajectory.
yeah, like who are you moving out of the way for Saya Ida? I mean, are you pushing
Yeah,
her ahead of
exactly.
Hazuki? No. Are you pushing her ahead of Momo Watanabe? No. Are you pushing her ahead of Hanan? No. Are you pushing her ahead of Mariah May? No. Like, there's just a roadblock of talent in front of her that, unless she finds like a good tag team partner to have a good tag run with, she's kind of where she's always going to be, unless she leaves. But then she runs into the issue of she's going to be losing to people there, except they'll be worse. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a matter of her finding a tag team
Mm,
to kind of sink her teeth into more than anything. Um, Again, a undercard belt would maybe not solve her problem, but it would make something achievable. Which is something that I think is, and I know we'll speed this up a little bit, but
yes.
I think that's something that a lot of wrestlers could use, and that was always my thing with New Japan is that you need achievable championships for every single wrestler, because if there's not, then the fans of that wrestler are going to be like, why the fuck am I watching? And the wrestler themselves is going to be like, why am I working here? Like, there's nothing achievable for me. I think New Japan used to do that very well, not as much anymore. But yeah, an undercard belt that is achievable for someone like Ida would work wonders. Um, but yeah, I think she just needs to kind of find a tag team that is going to work, and maybe she'll get a Gas run eventually.
Hmm.
But I don't think it's a lost cause, but
I think she
it's a
is.
long shot that
She's a
she
lost cause.
runs wild.
It's too late for the gory Chan.
Well, I mean, again, it also depends on what a lost cause is.
That's true.
Because like, is Ishii a lost cause?
Yes,
Like, he is now, but like Ishii has won fucking half the singles championships you can win,
that's true.
uh,
But
or at least
most
gotten
of
really
those
really
are in a
close to them.
weaker era. In fairness,
Yes, but Storm's gonna have a weak era eventually.
mm, we
I'm
already
sure
had it. I think. Um, uh,
she was injured for it.
yes.
That's the problem.
The next question then is, what is the best version of Konami? I think TCS Konami was like the perfect blend of her, you know, natural personality and good wrestling. So I would go with TCS.
Yeah, I'm gonna rank them.
Please don't.
I'd say TCS and
We have to
Shooter are
preview New
like
Blood,
tied for
Dylan.
10.
Like,
No, I don't care about New Blood. TCS and Shooter and the Shooter are at the top, and then Oedo ties at the bottom, and Queen's Quest is above God's Eye. Yeah.
that is fair. Um, let's see. Let's see. Actually, is there many more questions? Ask about my book ideas, Dylan. What are your book
Oh yeah.
ideas?
Oh yeah. So my idea for a book is I want to write a biography about Chikuzu Nagayo.
Oh, fun.
Um, that is my ultimate goal. Uh, there's also other ones like I wanted to write a book about death matches, or at least the history of death matches, or even just the history of like a wrestling company. The issue is that Japan is so secretive, and they don't trust foreigners a lot. Especially, I mean, we've seen documentaries about AJW where they just work the crew,
Hmm.
like straight up. Um, so it's harder, and there aren't a lot of like uh there's not a lot of precedent. There's not a lot of books about Japanese wrestling in English, especially biographies. Chris Charlton has two like that aren't biographies. But yeah, so I really want to write a book about Chikuzu Nagayo, and that involves a lot of interviewing. And a lot of interviewing involves either me learning Japanese or me having a very good translator, both of which take a lot of time and money. So that's my goal, is to write a book about Chikuzu Nagayo, and Gaia and all of that great stuff that she's done over her career. But it's a long shot goal. So um, yeah, now that I said it out loud, I have to at least look further into it and try to get it somewhere. So that's nice.
All right.
That's why I asked, because I wanted to get it onto into the ether.
That is valid.
Because me sitting in my basement saying it is like, yeah, you're never gonna fucking do that.
Yeah. The next one is TJPW again. How likely is it Yuka puts people over on her way out? And does Maki Ito
No,
get a clean pinfall on a pillar in the build to her versus Mizuki? Um,
also no.
yeah, I would say Yuka will.
Well, maybe she beats Shoko.
I don't think so. I don't really. Well, she's
Probably
gone
not.
for 2 months to America in the build up, so
Yeah,
I don't think there's going to be many previews for it. And
yeah.
then even then, I don't think they do like people pinning pillars in the build up to matches. I would have to check, but I don't think they do it all that often. Yuka will put over less people than everyone is expecting. I think they will make it
Yes.
very important to beat her.
She'll put over maybe two or three people, and one of them will be in the tag match.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's not going to be
and
like she loses every match from here on out. I think they're going to use it sparingly.
which I will say is good because she's on my fantasy team, and I do not want her to lose
Of
every
course.
match.
Let's see, is it more likely we see a Hanan white belt challenge or a Hanan Mayu goddess challenge? Probably a Hanan white belt. But if anything, I think they'd run back an Artists of Stardom challenge.
Yeah. She can do both. She can do all three at this rate. I think that there is room for her to be filler defenses or filler challenges. I don't know if we see a white belt challenge because I feel like they might want to not have Hanan get to the point where she's 0-7 in white belt matches like Kid is. She's not literally, but or like Hazuki is even. Uh, I think they kind of want to save it for when she starts being a serious threat. So I would say the goddess challenge is more likely, or artist challenge this year. Next year, I imagine, is when she starts becoming a serious threat for the titles.
All right, that's fair. Um, what's the next one? Okay, top five Joshi promotions excluding Stardom and TJPW. I don't know if this means all time or current. But I assume it's current. Let's
Yeah,
see. Number
current. Let's just
one,
put current.
Sendai Girls. They're pretty amazing. I feel like they're like consistently one of the best as far as good matches. Um, then I would put Wave because Wave is fun. Uh, mm, Probably Ice Ribbon, just on sheer output. I think they're third. Um, then Seedling. Seedling has fallen a
Have you
lot.
been watching Actress?
Oh yeah, I feel like I forget them every time.
I haven't, but I feel. Oh,
Actress
I
is
do
really
too, but
fun.
I have to
Yeah,
watch them.
Actress would probably be number two, which would shove everybody down, and then Seedling is number
Yeah,
five because I feel like Seedling has fallen off pretty heavily from where it used to be, but it still has flashes. Like Riko Kawahata and Arisa Nakajima. Great.
you also didn't even mention TJPW.
It said excluding TJPW.
Oh,
Yeah,
did it exclude
excluding Stardom
TJPW? I
and
thought it excluded
TJPW.
Stardom. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Um, then yeah, for me, it's Wave. Wave is like my favorite indie. Um, then Sendai Girls, even though I haven't seen any of it this year because I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, so Wave, Sendai Girls. Then I'd say Seedling.
mm.
and then I'd say Marvelous. Those are the four that I watch mostly. I don't know if I'm forgetting one.
Yeah,
Oz Academy is fifth,
I
maybe,
guess.
because that's the other one that I watch on occasion. I've actually been watching a lot more Puro this year
Yeah.
than,
Oh, I
uh,
forgot Pure J
maybe not
on
a lot
mine.
more than Joshi.
Damn, Pure J is great.
Yeah,
Shit. Pure J is probably number
I don't watch
3.
a lot of Puro.
Pure J is number 3. They're really good. I like Pure J.
Damn, so Wave down to 4. That's
Yeah.
rough.
Wave
Um,
really is not as fun as it used to be. They really miss Nozaki.
no, yeah, I
And the
mean,
Marvelous
I love Wave,
Misfits.
but Wave
It
is
was it
Wave
was
is rough.
great when Marvelous would show up there. But yeah, my top 3 is I can't even remember what I said anymore. Sendai Girls, Actress, and Pure J. Because yeah, Pure J is pretty fantastic. Um,
Yeah, my top 3 are Wave, Sendai, and Seedling.
okay. Then it's Stardom top 5 all time. Okay.
Ah,
Number 1
it's
is
difficult.
Mayu Iwatani, obviously,
Mm.
the icon.
Are we talking about favorite or are we talking
Oh,
about like best?
yeah, favorite, I guess.
Let's go favorite. Yeah.
Number 2
Go ahead.
is Arisa Hoshiki. There will never be another Arisa
Makes sense.
Hoshiki. Number 3, Kagetsu. I mean, Yu Ishino is what got me into Stardom fully, so
Yeah.
I feel like he has to be there. Number 4, I would say Yuzuki Aikawa. She was fun,
Hmm.
and I loved Yuzuki. And 5, then maybe like peak Momo Watanabe, if that counts, because
I can see that.
she was on a whole nother level.
Yeah. Mine are number one's
Of
Kagetsu,
course.
obviously. Um, number 2 is Azumi.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Mayu. Fuck, this is hard. Um, hmm. Number 4 is let's go with Hana,
Oh yeah.
and then number 5 might be Utami, or maybe
Whoa.
Arisa. Utami or Arisa.
Okay.
Utami or Arisa. Cause like, yeah, I think Arisa's over Utami,
Yeah.
but not by as much as like I love Arisa, but like a year of me watching her is for as phenomenal as that year was and as groundbreaking as that year was. It's like it's hard to compare her to someone who's been wrestling for the past 5 years
Yeah.
and that I've been watching and rooting on for so long. So Arisa and Utami are kind of tied for fifth. I would lean Arisa right now, but in a year's time, it could be Utami over Arisa.
That is valid. Um, that is all the questions. So,
Oh, one more
is
question
there? Are you
because
sure?
Valke asked.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, it's in the other chat.
Oh yeah.
So his question is, if there was a draft today, who would be the first pick for each faction? So like if Shuri won the first pick, who would she pick? If Natsuko won the first pick, who
Okay.
would she
And
pick?
you can't pick
Blah
a
blah
leader.
blah. No, because the leaders are pickable.
Right. Um, okay. That is a good question. I think you'd have to go with Sayaka Matani.
Hmm.
15 months as a white belt champion. You know,
Yeah,
outside of the leaders, probably has the most pedigree.
I feel like Micah would be because I also think of it as like a character thing, like who would fit where. Like it's very unlikely that someone like like a Oedo Tai would pick a Sayaka Mitani. I feel like anybody could pick a Micah, um, and they would feel like it would blend well. Uh, yeah, I would probably say Micah. Or I mean, they also like doing the young talent, so I could also see Suzu. Like I think Suzu is like kind of like that, like ideal
Mm,
first pick because back in the day it was always Azumi and Kid.
yeah.
Like those were always the first pick. So I can kind of see Suzu being that, but I mean she's older now and everybody's older now. Maybe a Hanan as well. It's a good question. There's also like character specific. So like if Shuri got the first pick, again, I think somebody like Micah she would pick up.
She'd
Um,
pick Inaba.
Yes, that would be like the traditional in terms of young talent that you pick first, Inaba would be the pick. But if we're talking about someone new that a faction would pick up, it would be like Micah for Shuri. Maya would probably pick up Sarah. Um, Queen's Quest. I don't know. Utami would pick up Ida, but I don't think Ida is a Queen's Quest
Mm.
wrestler. That's why it's like all over the place. So it's a good question, but it's kind of it's a shame that we left it for when we have 5 minutes left because
Yes.
it's a bit more elaborate that we'd have to dig into if we wanted to. But
Um,
yeah, I like that thought experiment.
yeah, that was a fun Q&A. I did not expect us to take so
Yeah,
long, but we will just preview the New Blood 8 show because it's a good card. This show is on Friday. Yeah, Friday the 12th of May. It's going to be free on YouTube. Stardom's already said it. Um, the opening match, they have this as the opener, but I assume it'll main event. It's Tam Nakano versus Tam Nakano, and it's Tam versus Naoya Ishikawa. Um, fun.
I love that it says Cosmic Angels question mark. That's great.
Yeah, that's great. They've really gone all in on this one, and it's very fun. So yeah, it's I'm into it.
I imagine it'll be a fun match too.
Yeah, Naoya is pretty good. She hits a hell of a German, so that's all I need.
As long as Tam doesn't make it serious and just does the comedy for that part of
Yes,
it, for the character part of it, then the work rate will carry
that is
itself.
true.
I think it'll be fun.
The match then that's probably likely to start Wakasuyama versus Aya Sakura. Oh boy. Um,
Terrible.
then we have Hanan and Hina versus Tomoka.
Waka's winning, by
Yes,
the
of
way.
course. Versus Tomoka and Azusa Inaba. I mean, Azusa's probably taking the pin because she's a pretty easy pin eater.
Yes.
Um,
She did just get her first win, though.
she did, yeah, but I think was it over Hisoka?
I think it was over
Yeah, they're
Hisoka.
like the two younguns. Also, Yu is going
Yeah.
to eat Azusa alive in the semifinals, so she might not make it.
I forgot that you was in that shit.
Yeah,
Like, oh man, that's funny. That's fucked
yeah,
up too.
or Azusa, but yeah, she's
um,
she's she's definitely eating a pin.
the Minami's win.
Yes,
Yeah, the
definitely.
Minami's win.
We then have Mai Sakurai and Chan Yota versus Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sarah. So yeah, probably Suzu and Mei win. Very excited to see Suzu and
Yeah,
Chan Yota wrestle. That is beast.
that'll be huge. That'll be huge. Shout out
Hell
Chanyota
yeah.
one time.
We then have Nanai Takahashi and Ruaka in a passion injection match. I mean, Nanai is going to win, but that could do a lot for Ruaka based on the tag from Corkin the other month.
Yeah, this is a surprise. This is a surprisingly highly anticipated match for me. I like this one.
Yeah.
Um, Ruak is such a shit starter, and Nanai is the shit starter.
Yeah.
So I'm rocking with it.
The next match then is a Supernova 5-match series, fourth round. It's Miyu Amasaki versus Momo Watanabe. Miyu has been very fired up in the lead up to this, so hopefully it brings out the best in her. But if not, Momo will beat the shit out of her, so that's good.
Yeah, I hope it's just Momo laying it in, right?
Yeah,
I hope it's not too much of just her kind of doing the rounds type of thing.
yeah,
And it's her like I miss the Unagi series where everybody just absolutely tried to kill
yeah.
her.
That was great.
They need more of that. Uh, and yeah, I think Momo should be able to deliver that, but who
We
knows?
hope. The next match is a Future of Stardom Championship match. Ami Sourei defends against Rina. I think there's a world in which Rina wins by like loads of interference because they want to get the belt off of Ami, but she also might just retain.
Yeah, because Waka needs it
Yeah,
in the next 3 months, and she like that's just what she's
yeah.
doing. She challenged for it already, so I feel like Rina over Ami using interference would be smart so that Waka can win it. As much as I'm not a big Ami fan, Waka should not beat Ami Sore, quite frankly.
That
Um,
would also not be a
she
good
shouldn't have beaten
match
Nai.
at all.
It would also be terrible, yeah. So for multiple reasons, I think Rena should win this. Not just me being a fan of Rena, a bigger fan, which is true,
Mm.
but also because Rena is more beatable. And if you want Waka to win, beating a goddess champion is not the way to do it, even though she already did that once. So
True
who
that.
fucking
True
knows?
that. Then the main event is the New Blood Tag Championship match. It's Starlight Kid and Karma versus Lady C and Hanako. Yeah, these New Blood tag belts aren't changing hands anytime soon because Karma is now the champion of Diana, and she ain't losing in Stardom. So,
I hate that shit so much because Lady C and Hanako are the perfect New Blood
yeah,
champions. Like they are the quote unquote new blood. That is the entire point. Like even though they're Lady C's older, but like that this is what the belts were made for. Are tag teams like Hanako and Lady C. Uh,
that's true.
so it's a shame that they are fodder here. Uh, because I think they could be a good tag team. We haven't seen them yet, but they feel like they just kind of they seem like they would click, and not just because they're both tall, but
Hmm.
because they just seem like they'd both click.
That is fair. But yeah, that's the only show really worth
Towers of Power.
previewing because the next show is a house show and the Corkin card is all tags. Like it is terrible. Um, so yeah, that is that show. We are right up against the wire, so we will see you next week to review New Blood 8, and we will presumably review this Corkin and whatever the house show brings us. Um, so yeah, stick around.
This is the last. This is the last time Hameka is not retired. That
Oh wow,
we will ever
that
talk.
is true. That is crazy.
Man, everybody go check out my buddy Wake Up Scory's video of Hameka. It's called Earn because it's based on the Earn song. Whatever. Good video. Good music video. It's on Twitter, and it made me tear up a little bit last night because I was very
Well,
sad
damn.
because I was like, damn, this is it. Like it's really we're really here.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, Jumbo Princess will be missed. But yeah, everybody enjoy New Blood. It looks like a good show, and we'll talk next week, and you will listen because you love Stardom Quest.
Hell yeah. All right, with that, it is time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Joe.
Yo.